Welcome back. It's the last wrap up of the year. For me, it's technically already the new year, which is absolutely crazy. And I really was wondering if I even should do the December wrap up, but it felt like there would be something vital missing. If you're subscribed, please let me know if I should continue the monthly wrap up or if I should switch it to like quarterly wrap ups. I'm not too sure. After this video, you'll also be getting a complete year wrap up, which won't be a wrap up because I thought that'd just be kind of counterproductive. It's going to be more of like a tier list ranking of all of the things I've read and watched of that year. So look forward to that. The other reason I decided to do this to do the December wrap up is because I actually did read and watch stuff. Um, for the books, there is technically a video that could be uploaded. You just have to let me know if you're interested. I'll give you like a little bit of a review, but in case you're interested, I'm not going to give everything away because I did film myself reading all three of the books I read in December because I wanted to get out of my reading slump. So I decided to do like a book a day for a week. It didn't work out. Many reasons why. I think mainly I don't like challenges. I think the important thing is to read at all on a day. I do think if I truly know that I have nothing to do that week, I will try to redo it because I did have fun and I liked like a little bit like the excitement of trying to get the book done. But I do think we should read more mindfully. So that shouldn't be like a constant thing to get yourself to read. But I read 3 books in those days. Then I got distracted by life, so I didn't end up finishing it. But I do have that footage, and I could like conclude the video and still upload it if anyone's interested. So do let me know. But let's get into the books first. These are, like I said, all of the books that I read for those days, and then I didn't read anything else. I started reading one of the books behind me, the third book in the Trials of Apollo, which is The Burning Maze. I started that really randomly, only read like a few pages and then gave up because I watched a movie. Which you'll be able to tell. I watch a lot of movies this month. And the first book that I read on that little journey was Woman Eating by Claire Coda. And if you're subscribed, you've heard me talk about this in one of my last videos because I bought this in Edinburgh and I filmed an Edinburgh book haul. Might honestly be my last video, my most recently uploaded one. I don't know. This is a vampire book, and I think it's like still freshly in my mind, so I can sum it up for you. This book follows Lydia, who has a very tricky life for many reasons. Her mum is getting very ill. Her dad has died long ago, and she's not human. She's a vampire, and her mum used to be the one provider who would get like all sorts of things for them to drink. And while her mum is kind of like shutting down, she needs to figure out what she wants to do and how she wants to do it and where she wants to live, and the relationship she has between her and her mum, and all the grievances that come with losing her dad, and also being of mixed race, and many things to consider. And this is kind of what the book is about. It's definitely not what I anticipated for it to be. Like, I don't know what my expectations were, but they were, I think, a tad bit different, but it wasn't too far off fetched. Like, I still enjoyed it. I'll give you more on that later. Do think I enjoyed the writing style a lot. I think that's like the main reason I enjoyed this book is the writing style, which is always a good thing. And I think this is a debut, I'm pretty sure, which is even more exciting because that means I can look forward to hopefully more books of this author. Yeah, so I'm super excited for that. Hope she releases more books in this genre specifically, because the things that were missing for me can like absolutely be done better in her next novels. Yeah, I really like the writing style. Like I said, there were like just flicking through it, especially in the first half. A lot of the things I loved, I underlined. At the beginning, there were like a lot of discussions on vampirism, especially in the modern day world, and the moral and ethical stances a vampire should or can have, comparing that to human morals and justifications that people use for eating meat, for example, which as a vegan was very interesting to read. I definitely think the first half was way stronger than the second half. The second half felt a little bit rushed and not so thoughtful, but I still enjoyed it a lot. I still enjoyed it a lot. I think I gave it a 3.5 star, and I would definitely recommend this for people who kind of want to get into the gothic genre more, because this is not a gothic vampire book at all. But if you usually read literary fiction and want to start getting into vampire books, which I don't know if that's a thing for people, but if you do, you could brilliantly cross that line with this one first. That was Woman Eating, and the next book is very exciting, and it's We Love You Bunny by Mona Awad. Um, this is a sequel slash prequel of Bunny, the very iconic novel by Mona. I am going to repeat myself because I already talked about this in my last video, but this is indeed signed and personalized because I did meet Mona and I got to hear her talk about the book, which is like one of the most exciting things as a reader, especially with books such confusing as Bunny is. If you love Bunny, I think you will love this. The critique that I've seen online is the same critique people gave Bunny, which why do you read either of those if you don't like those things? And the critique I've seen from Bunny fans that didn't like this, I understand, but I also really don't. I had such a good time reading this. While reading, I knew it was going to be a 5 star. I just loved the way Mona knows her characters so well. Because in this one, the previous book is written by written from the perspective of the main character, whose name is Sam. And this is basically that same story, but it is the bunnies, which are like kind of the not villains, but the mean girls in Bunny. It's from their perspective and them telling their part of the story, and it's so funny because they're like 4 girls, I think, and each one of them gets their own perspective, and they keep switching around and fighting over who talks next. And then there's also a really nice surprise perspective that we get, and I think she did such a brilliant job in writing in their voices, and I just absolutely fell in love with these characters again. The complaints that I've seen is that one of the perspectives is a male perspective, and I've seen a lot of people complain about that because they wanted to hear from the bunnies, and a male focused point of view seemed weird to them, and I understand it in a way because this is like a very female centric book, but I think the perspective that we get is really, really important, and I don't want to give too much away. But I really enjoyed it. And yes, the writing style is very vastly different. But once you get into it, it's like so fun to read, and I really felt with the character. And the character's perspective is really important for the bunnies. You know, if it would be the other way around, that the bunnies would be important for that character, I would also not like it. But this way, it's just like we need to know his story to understand the bunnies more. And I think that's really important to keep the plot going. So I think it made a lot of sense, and also I think the way she wrote that person was brilliant and super fun, and it was kind of like truly, this book is described like Heather's meets Frankenstein. Truly, it is that. But I really think, especially reading this after seeing the new Frankenstein adaptation by Guillermo del Toro, it's so brilliant because it's kind of like, if you haven't seen Frankenstein, maybe skip a few seconds ahead. But the new Frankenstein does this brilliant thing of starting with the professor's perspective and then switching to the creature's perspective, which was like so shocking and thrilling to me because that's what I've always wanted. Because I always said he's so misunderstood, and this book does it as well. I really love this. So many fun lines and quotes, and the best part was also that Mona read like the first chapter to us, so it was like super exciting to read it kind of in her voice. And yeah, I had such a blast. And after I finished this, I truly thought, this is it. I'm totally back into my reading phase again. I'm gonna read so many books now. And then I made a huge mistake. I picked up a classic that I was really excited for, and I dread talking about it. I haven't even logged it in my story graph because this is my first DNF ever. I am always contradicting myself on what I think of DNFing. If you don't know, DNFing is did not finish a book, stopping reading a book. And I never wanted to do it because I always think books deserve a chance to be fully read. And I also think that books deserve to be read at the right time. Of course, author books will never have a right time, but there are certain books I think you really need to be in the right mindset for to thoroughly enjoyed them. That kind of was changed for me when I read this book, and it is A Month in the Country by J.L. Khan. And this was also mentioned in my recent video because I also bought this in Edinburgh, and I was so excited to read it. I had such high expectations. I really thought this would be kind of like a Claire Keegan book, not in the sense of the writing style or the story, but like a very quiet book. And I think this book is that, but I just hated the writing style and story so much, which is so unusual for me because usually I love these quiet countryside character focused books, but I didn't. This is like such a tiny book, which makes it even more disappointing. But I got 50 pages through this, and just nothing was making me excited to read it. I just kept on putting it down and not being focused and skipping lines. And then at one point, I just thought, I don't think I should be reading this anymore. When I went into Storygraph and TikTok and saw that the most prominent voices were male, which made a lot of sense because this is very much that type of book, sadly. I can't even tell you what it is about. It's set after the First World War. Survivor moves into this tiny church cottage situation to paint like a mural or something, and it could have been so lovely and so nice. And I've seen like a lot of people say, "Oh, it's such a nice lesson to learn at the end." But if you're only learning it at the end, then why have all of the other 99 pages? Bunny, obviously, We Love You Bunny has a 5 star for me. I loved it. Month and Country, just as it fell down to the floor, 1 star. Maybe not even a star. I don't know. Didn't even finish it. Those are all the books. Now we get into the movies, which is exciting because I did a lot of great movie watching this month. We started off kind of slow, and then my friend was over. And usually I am not the person I am and usually I'm not the person I was that day. I was very, very picky and didn't feel up to watching anything. I think I was on my period. I don't know, I just really wasn't in the mood for anything. And we ended up finding a few movies, and then those weren't available on any of the streaming platforms. And I was just getting really upset about all of it because I wasn't in the mood for anything. And then really randomly, I don't even know why. I think maybe because it was like shortly after seeing the first Stranger Things episodes, which I won't be talking about Stranger Things today. I've been a huge Stranger Things fan ever since I was 12 years old. And I'm not going to talk about how much the ending disappointed me. That's for another day, but just know this is where my stance is. I hated the ending so much, and this is where I'll stop because otherwise I'll go crazy. Anyway, I think this might have been because of that, and also I think because I was in such a weird mood, I needed like something silly and like older, and I think I much time into searching for what we want to watch. I realized I want like a weird 2010s movie, and we ended up watching The Mortal Instruments, City of Bones by Hal Swart from 2013, which is obviously based on the books. And I've seen this movie before, and not recently enough to remember like what I thought of it. And so we rewatched that because the friend and I, she's read some of the books and she's also seen the movie, and we've both seen the TV show, which we love, even though it's like so wacky, but it's a nice show. And so we rewatched this. This stars Lily Collins, Jamie Kemper Bauer, which I think is why this came to mind, Robert Sheehan, whom I love, many, many, many talented people. And even though this is such a huge book series and such a huge world, this movie was cancelled. The loss of many people's lives. I do think the casting was brilliant for this one, especially Jamie as Jace was incredible. I do. This is a good thing to talk about right now. If anyone's still watching, maybe you've seen. I did like a first read through of the Poppy War, and the second, the Heroes of Olympus. Did I read anything else? No, I don't think so. But I love reading like new series on here, and I think it could be kind of fun to read these books. I mostly want to read them for Malek, which I know they have like their own series in the series, but I do think I would have to read the entire series to read that series. So if that's something you'd be interested in, I could potentially do that. Just saying. I didn't rate this on Letterboxd, as I'm realizing now. I think I just like give it a 3 because it's like so whatever, but it's like so enjoyable to watch, and it's like just fun and weird. And I do have to say, while the CGI and the storyline was done so wrong, everything happens like way too fast, and you don't get to emotionally attach yourself to any of the characters. I do have to say the set design incredible, like especially of the what do they call it? Like their main base. I forget. The institute? Is it what they, I don't know. But brilliant set design. I do was wondering why there were only two people in there, but whatever. Yeah, that was a fun rewatch. I definitely feel myself, especially when looking at the next few movies I watch, definitely feel myself stepping back into my like teenager self, which is always exciting because I think I for a while I was a bit rough on her, but I think it's really fun stepping back into that fangirl heart of it all, which Stranger Things really brought out again and then destroyed. But anyway, Stranger Things and just books and movies and rewatching TV shows I loved at that time. And I'm just really feeling 14-year-old Diana come back, which is fun. Which is why the next movies we started on that same night were the Maze Runner movies, which I'm also thinking should I read those books? I'm not sure. I don't know. These are like the only dystopian books I never ever read. I of course read Hunger Games, and I read the first one of the Divergent series. Maze Runner I never read, so let me know if I should read it. And yeah, we rewatched the first and the second one. We have yet to watch the third one, but we ran out of time. Maze Runner is from 2014, starring Dylan O'Brien, Kaya Scodelario, Thomas Brody Sangster, who I love, Will Potter, many, many, many cool people. I will forever rate this 5 stars. This is like the perfect movie. And I don't care what you have to say. Truly, 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 I know people say this all the time, but they don't make dystopian world books too, but dystopian movies like this anymore. Maze Runner was so brilliant. Like the entire concept, of course, it's a book, but and the way the set design was made, and we kept on saying like Thomas, the main character, is like the best main character ever written because he's like such a people person. I think a lot of the times main characters are like unlikable for some reasons, but he's so likable because he meets these people, and from the get go, like from the first moment he meets them, he cares about them so much, and it's not like a mean, not even mean, but like only cares about himself. Because why would he care about these people he's never met? But he's so gentle and so caring, and I think that makes him such a great main character. All of the characters, you truly, truly, truly know why they do what they do. And the funny thing is, both my friend and I admitted that we hate Teresa's character. I've seen these movies a lot of the time. I watched the second and third one in the cinemas, I think, not the first one, but the other two I watched in the cinemas. And I remember always hating Teresa. And I did rewatch them after seeing them when they first came out. But when I was like a teenager, I thought, okay, maybe I don't like her just because I'm like, I don't know. If I now thought before I just rewatched this, I was thinking like maybe I didn't like her because I was like into the boys or whatever. I don't know. I just like was thinking maybe I was just internalized misogyny. I don't know what was happening, and I really hope that for this rewatch I would start to like her. And I think the last time I rewatched it, I liked her a little bit more, but this time I hated her the most I've ever hated her. I'm sorry, she's a very I think maybe it's the author's fault. Maybe she's just a very bad written female character, which is sad because female characters do not deserve this treatment. Yeah, but I sadly don't like her at all. And the other Maze Runner came out the year after that. That's the Scorch Trials. I love the first one the most, like 5 star, like 100%. That's so well made. And this is an interesting comparison because both of like Mortal Instruments and Maze Runner, similar runtime, but for Maze Runner, you absolutely attach yourself to these characters, and you're like nervous and sad for them. But Mortal Instruments doesn't have that. And Maze Runner scored Trials 4 out of 5 stars, and I haven't rewatched the third one in a while, but I think it would be like a 3.5, maybe 3 star. I remember liking it the least, but maybe I'll like it more on this new rewatch. But maybe I also just don't like it because of Newt's character's ending. Anyway, Then I really randomly watched a movie with my cousin, and we watched The Babysitter from 2017, directed by Meg G, starring Judah Lewis, Samara Weaving, Robbie Amell, Bella Thorne. Crazy cast. I hadn't seen these movies before, and I do want to watch the sequel of this. 2 out of 5 stars. This was like such a stupid and bullshit storyline, and the acting was also kind of weird. And just generally, the story was absolutely bonkers, but I did enjoy it. Like, not in a I would rewatch. I wouldn't rewatch it, but I did enjoy myself watching it, even though it's badly made. And sometimes you just have to watch those kind of movies. Then I finally, this has been on my watch list for so long. I watched Heathers, 1999, directed by Michael Lehman, for the first time ever. And that was so exciting because I've always wanted to watch Heathers, but I never did. I don't know why. This stars Winona Ryder, Christian Slater, Shannon Doherty, which rest in peace. And this was so fun. My god, I finally understand. I finally know why Heathers is so iconic. Which I won't be talking too much about it, but I think like on the same day, I also watched Heathers the musical, the pro shot they put out like last year or 2 years ago. Um, and you have to understand, I love musicals. I love movie musicals. I love like musicals. I love live theater. I'm a huge musical nerd, a huge theater kid. But I do think sometimes movies don't have to be musicals, and I think Heathers might be one of those. Sure, Heathers has a few great songs. I would definitely still see it live. I think live is always different than the recorded version. Um, and also maybe the mistake was watching the movie immediately beforehand, because the movie is done so well. And I don't know who did the music for the musical, but I just kind of really didn't like the music style. It felt a little bit weird and off-putting. But yeah, I enjoyed Heather so much. The costuming, the cast, was so well done, and Winona Ryder is just amazing in anything she does. So 4 stars from me. I would 100% rewatch this. Okay, the next movie was really randomly picked, but I'm so glad I watched it. It's Next Goal Wins 2023, directed by Taika Waititi, whom I love as a director, starring Michael Fassbender, Oscar Knightley, Kaimana, David Fane. Just judging based on stories so out of my usual watching taste, because this is a football story, but it's so much more than that. And I truly, for the first time in my life, was rooting for a football team, and this is just such a sweet story. Um, I've seen mixed reviews about this, mixed feelings, which made it hard for me to rate, because I did understand a few people where they were coming from, and I cried a lot and I laughed a lot. Very funny movie, but also very sentimental and emotional, and I thought it was very well done. The next movie. Sometimes you just have to watch movies because you love an actor, okay? And for this particular actor, I had seen and consumed every last piece of content I could have done. And this was the missing movie on that list. And it is none other than Jack Wolf, who I'm talking about. And he starred in The Magic Flute 2022, directed by Florian Ziegel. I don't know how to say his last name. Starring Jack Wolf, F. Muir Abraham, Liam McCormack, Ellie Cotier, Tedros Taklibran. This is super funny. If you're German, this is so funny. Because Jack Wolf, if you don't know Jack Wolf, I can't do a long introduction because I'm like deep in the obsession right now. But Jack Wolf is an incredible actor. You might know him from Shadow and Bone, the show on Netflix, where he plays Violent One Egg. Or you might know him from viral clips on TikTok of him playing Orpheus in Hadestown on Broadway right now. Beautiful things Jack has been in, and I hopefully he's going to the West End soon again because I need to see him live. Yeah, he started in The Magic Flute, which is based on The Magic Flute by Mozart, and I do think that the storyline of this, the thing I don't know, because I think it's yeah. Anyway, I didn't know anything about the music piece. I didn't know anything about Mozart's The Magic Flute. But I think the storyline of the movie is so fun and truly, truly, truly could have been very high up there if the production was better. I don't think they had the budget to make it better. Um, and I think a lot of people might enjoy this, especially like teens. I think could potentially like really like it. Basically, Jack's character, don't know his name right now, um, goes to this fancy boarding school for music, and his dad, just before he dies, gives him this book, and he says like return it to the library because he also used to go to school there, and so he goes to return this book, and while returning this book, he lands in a new realm, in a new fantasy world, which transports him into the literal piece of the magic flute. So he's in Mozart's play. It's not called a play, but you know. And I think the concept could have been really fun. The CGI was bad. The story was really off-putting at times, sadly. And also, I agree, a lot of people could have been cast better. This is an opera, and there are little to few opera singers. Jack was cast brilliantly. Yeah, it was super fun to see Jack act in a movie, and I can't wait to see his new projects for this year. But yeah, that was that. Not a lot to say. Um, I do have to say, I did a bunch of research after this because I was wondering, because I knew it was like a German production, whatever, and I'm from Germany. If you didn't know, you probably do. And I've very quickly found out that when this movie got released, they had a premiere like right next to my door. And back then, I was also a huge Jack Wolf fan. I just, I also knew about this movie coming out. I just didn't put the two together, and I missed out, which sucks. The next movie I watched the second that I got my projector, which you'll see in the next video. um, just because my sister and I wanted something nostalgic and comforting, so I watched Brother Bear, 2003, directed by Aaron Blaise and Robert Walker. I think this is the most underrated animated movie ever. Was like one of my favorite movies as a kid, so rewatching it was very special. I watched also one of my favorite movies ever, which I forgot that it's one of my favorite movies ever, and I think it's pretty fought over if this is a good movie or not. But I loved it when it came out. I was like obsessed. It was definitely my hyperfixation in that year. And I randomly thought I need to rewatch that, and I did, and I had the best time ever. And it's Bohemian Rhapsody, 2018, which is crazy. It feels like it was yesterday. Directed by Bryan Singer, starring Rami Malek, Willem Lee, Ben Hardy, Joseph Marcello. This is obviously the biopic of queer, of Queen or Freddie Mercury. First of all, huge Queen fan. Second of all, huge Freddie Mercury fan. Third of all, I loved this movie, and if you didn't, I simply do not care. I always bawl my eyes out when I watch this, and this newest rewatch, there was a lot of time and space from this rewatch to the last time I watched it, and so I forgot most of the things. Not forget, but I forgot about the movie a little bit, even though I used to be so obsessed. I'm also more grown up, and I know a lot more about queer history and the queer experience in itself, and so I for this rewatch I bawled the entire time, and a lot of scenes and lyrics of Queen got a lot of new meanings for me recently. So of course, because it was still Christmas, I had to rewatch Little Women, 2019, directed by Greta Gerwig, and I do want to say I want to desperately watch the version with Maya Hawke in it, because that's the only Little Woman adaptation that I haven't seen. But this one, if you don't know, stars Saoirse Ronan, Emma Watson, Florence Pugh, Eliza Scannion, Laura Dern, Timothy Chalamet. Which, fuck that guy. Sorry, but I'm upset about Timothy being the way he is. Little Women is one of my favorite movies. It's in my top 4. I have a huge poster over it on my wall. This is will and always will be a 5-star movie for me. And seeing it in my room on a projector screen on full volume with all of my candles and lights turned on, like my low lights, was great. We have 5 movies left. And in like the in between days of Christmas and New Year's, one of my friends was staying over, and we did a lot of movie and series watching and TV show watching. So the first movie we watched finally was the new Knives Out, which is Wake Up Dead Man from 2025, directed by Ryan Johnson, starring Daniel Craig, Josh O'Connor, Glenn Close, Josh Brolin, Mila Kunis, Jeremy Renner, Andrew Scott. Crazy casting. I'm a huge fan of the Knives Out movies. The first one will always be my favorite, just I think because of the nostalgia, and I just loved that cast and that set a lot. But this one comes close second. The second movie is definitely my least favorite, but I still like it a lot, like story wise. Um, I just really think when they stick to like the more dark and gloomy and gothic vibe, it just fits a lot with the story. And this one was just as well done. I liked it a lot. Saw some twists coming, saw some twists not coming, and the cast was done really well. Nothing to complain about. Great movie. If you're a fan of Knives Out, you will like this. A lot of great lines, as always. They always have like a really good comedic timing and like shocking timing. Then was a very, 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 very hard rewatch, but it was time. I really, for a few weeks, I really thought of this movie a lot, and I just thought, okay, I need to rewatch it. And I also rewatched it with the friends that was staying here, and she had never seen it, which is fun. And I think they also liked it. And it was All of Us Strangers, 2023, directed by Andrew Hay, starring Andrew Scott, Paul Mescal, Katja John Grouch, Jamie Bell, Claire Foy. 5 stars, always. I love this movie with all of my heart. This is the first time I watched it without crying, though. That's something to be proud of. I did have to hold myself back from crying sometimes. But I didn't cry. The tears didn't come out, so it doesn't count. Then the next few movies are all new movies, which is exciting. Not new movies, but new movies to me. And the first one was recommended to me by the friend, so we watched it together. And it was The Perfection, 2018, directed by Richard Shepard, starring Alison Williams, Logan Browning, Steven Weber, Elena Huffman. And this is such a fun movie. This is technically a horror movie. I wouldn't necessarily say it's like a horror movie. It's more like psychological thriller vibe, but also not that much. But the storyline is very important, and it's also lesbian. It has lot to do with classical music and a lot to do with female oppression, female abuse, but in a very nice, like, now seeing that this is directed by a man, kind of hate it, but it focuses a lot on female stories, which I thought was really nice. And it's done in a very, 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 very crazy way. A lot of twists that are happening that I didn't see coming towards me. And I think it's very well done. I gave it a 3 star. There's not a movie I would rewatch, but it is a movie I would recommend if you have a strong stomach, because it's disgusting at times. Yeah, if you want to see lesbian horror, watch it. And maybe read some trigger warnings beforehand. Okay, 2 more movies to go. And the first one is Good Will Hunting, 1997, directed by Gus Van Sant, starring Matt Damon, Robin Williams, Ben Affleck, Stellan Skarsgård, Minnie Driver, Casey Affleck. Crazy casting as well. And this has been on my watch list for so long. Don't know why it took me so long to watch it, actually. I do think I will rewatch this maybe someday. Not too soon, but maybe one day. Because I think I don't know. I think it deserves a rewatch. I did cry at the end a lot. That's the reason I think I need a rewatch is because I think I could have cried more, if that makes sense. Because I'm a very, very, very emotional person and I cry a lot. But I think that day I just wasn't like feeling it too much. But I think I could feel way more. And the storyline is just so beautiful. The friend, all of these movies I watched with the same friend. Um, it was just so funny, probably, because I kept on talking about how much I love Robin Williams. I just kept on saying, look at his kind eyes. Look at the way he acts. Like, he's so gentle and he's such a good actor. That's how I sounded the entire time. But I truly, truly love him in anything he does. So, yeah. And I also loved Matt Damon in this. He's an incredible actor, and I'm so sad that he doesn't do more movies like this. Maybe I've just been missing out on Matt Damon. I don't know. But great movie. Crazy casting. And incredible, incredible story. Definitely will rewatch one day, and definitely filled the expectations I had of it. 4 stars. And the last movie of the year, technically, because I watched this on New Year's Eve, and I'm so excited to talk about. I'm so fucking excited to talk about this one. Um, where is the book? Oh, it's right there. It's not on camera, I think, but um, Hamnet, Hamnet, 2025, 2025, directed by Chloe Zhao, and I am a huge fan of this book. First of all, I love Hamlet so much. I read it before the cast was even casted, or any. I didn't know anything about the movie. I don't think they were making it yet, and I read the book. Fell absolutely in love with the characters and the story, and I cried so much. And this was absolutely a 6-star book for me, like 6 out of 5 stars. Chef's kiss. Loved it so much, and I think I will be rereading it after having seen the movie. And it's so fun because this year, well, technically last year, 2025, I did a movie of me watching book adaptations and talking about the necessity of adapting books, and I think also my opinions on which are well made and which aren't. And Hamlet is definitely the best adaptations I've ever seen. Closely followed by what I want to mention is Small Things Like These. I think that was also a great adaptation, but Hamlet really outdid it. This is stars Jesse Buckley, Jesse Buckley, Paul Mescal, Emily Watson, Jacoby Jube, which incredible actor, that little guy, my god. Joe Alwyn, incredible cast, incredible direction, incredible cinematography. There's not a single thing that I could tell you that I didn't like about this movie. This is a 6 out of 5 stars. Like, I would give it a million stars if I could. I wish I was like and wish it was possible for me to go to the exhibition they have in London. I think it's already over, but I would have loved to see that. I would have loved to hear the cast talk about it in real life. I don't care, just want to consume everything about this movie. It was so well done, and that was so great because we actually I was so sad because this is supposed to come out in March, I think, in Germany, which made it even more exciting that I already got to see it because one of my favorite cinemas where I live had like an early premiere screening type of thing on New Year's Eve as like a special New Year's Eve thing, and it's definitely interesting to be at the cinema on New Year's Eve. I think generally I would do it again. I think the cinema we were at wasn't that nice because like in the city, in the fireworks towards the end of the movie got so annoying and loud and scary. I hate fireworks. But overall, watching movies on New Year's Eve, good decision, especially movies done as well as this one. As a huge book enjoyer, as a huge movie enjoyer, I have nothing to complain about. I will rewatch this once I have it a millions of times, and I will recommend it to everyone I can. It was such a well portrayal of grief and family and love and loss. Lust? No, loss is what I wanted to say. The cast was brilliant. I of course won't ever complain about Paul Mescal and something, but this could potentially make it one of my new favorite projects of this. After Sun will always be my number one, but it's up there. Hamnet is definitely up there. And Jessie Buckley, my god, I need to watch more of what she's in because she's incredible. I fell in love with her acting and her soul and just her face. My god, what a woman. You could tell how much love and passion was put into this, and I will never shut up about this movie. And I don't want to give anything away, but if you haven't seen Hamnet yet, please, please, please go watch it. It is maybe one of my favorite movies of the year. And if you want to find out what my favorite movie of the year is, you will just have to stick around and watch my next video, which will hopefully be out on Saturday or Sunday, in which I'll be ranking all of the movies I watched in 2025, which will include Hamlet, as I did watch it before it hit midnight. And that is that. Those are all the movies and books I read or watched in December. Please let me know if you've read or watched any of these, and let me know your favorites of the month. And let me know if you want me to keep doing these monthly wrap ups or if I should put it to quarterly or like half a year. I don't know. Let me know what you like. And I hope you had a wonderful New Year's Eve and New Year's. I hope the nostalgia and Stranger Things finale didn't hit you as much as it hit me, but at last it did. Thanks so much for sticking with me for the entire year and always being very patient. And even if it's just a few of you, I love you dearly, and I'm so happy you're here. And have a wonderful year. I believe it will be full of joy, whimsy, and magic. Bye bye.